Hi guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is Nikki here. So today I have this Instagram Mitchell inspired makeup look for you guys. It is a cut crease, like a halo cut crease with a shit ton of blending going on and cutting and reshaping, and I had a little bit of a mare, but we're okay, we got there in the end. It is quite dramatic, but it is an Instagram look, and I asked you guys on Instagram, funnily enough, if you wanted to see it, and you guys said yeah. So make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and if you want to see how I created this makeup look, then just keep on watching. Okay, so I'm going to start off just with a clean, fresh base. We're actually going to start off with eyes today because on Instagram I've seen that Mitchell starts off with eyes and then he will do the skin makeup just because there's a lot going on and there's probably going to be a lot of fallout. So we're going to start off with eyes. We're going to start off by filling in our brows. Now, because this is an Instagram inspired look, I wanted to kind of do like a collective Instagram inspired look, and I want to do more of an Instagram brow, which is more of my style of brow. So I'm just going to fill them in as I usually do. I like to make them a little bit thicker using my Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade and just an angle brush just to fill that in, just to elongate my natural brows as well. And just get them quite chunky looking and quite fierce looking. Now that my brows are on, they are hella thick. They are very thick, but I feel like because it's going to be such a bold eye look, you need quite big brows to be able to pull it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my brows in place using the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is just the clear brow gel. I'm just going to brush this through, and I'm going to keep the hairs a little bit more up as they are on Instagram to create more of that kind of runway vibe. I'm going to start off by carving underneath my brows. I'm going to be using the Kevyn aucoin. This is a Sensual Skin Enhancer, the one that I usually use just because I like it. It's really creamy, and that's what I like about it. We're just going to carve out the brows underneath, and then I'm just going to prime the whole of my eyelid with this concealer as well, just to get a base down ready for eyeshadow application. I'm going to now just take my beauty blender and I'm going to blend all of these edges out. I brought you guys in closer to me because I really want you to get a feel for how I'm going to be doing the eyes. Now, Mitchell's work is incredible. He uses a lot of colour, but I want to stay true to my style, and I wanted to use the earthy browns, blacks, so you guys can maybe even recreate this at home, and I feel like it's a little bit more wearable, and it's just my style. And these are the images that I absolutely love. The way in which he just cuts a crease is so beautiful. So I'm going to just be using these images as inspiration and trying to create it. So let's just get started. So personally, I feel like Instagram makeup is done very differently to how I would do my natural everyday or even a cut crease makeup. A lot of makeup artists actually put on their crease color and pack it on and then blend out to get more of an airbrush feel, as opposed to do their transition blend. If that sort of makes sense. I'm going to be using the Morphe times James Charles palette, and we're going to take this shade right here, which is called 10% Off, and I'm just going to pack this into the crease. Really just pack it in. We're not blending at all. I'm just going to keep packing, and I want this to be quite a dark color because our transition is actually going to go on top of it. Now, I am very well aware that this looks like a hot mess right now, and all I want to do is start blending because I'm not used to doing this method, but just trust it, and we're just going to pack this color on and just kind of create the shape that we want. Now that that color's down, I'm not too sure if I need to go darker before I start blending this bit out. I'm just going to go and blend out this harsh line because it's doing my head in. I'm going to go back into that James Charles palette, and I'm going to take the shade next to it, which is lighter. I'm going to be using this just to blend this out on a fluffy brush with really small round like motions. You just want to be very careful and just buff out the edge. Nothing else but the edge. If I'm honest, I really like that method for the blend. I feel like I've got a really seamless blend, and Instagram makeup from Mitchell is very highly taken up towards the brow bone, which is what I've done here, but it's such a seamless blend, blending it out with a lighter color. Okay, now I need to start building this eye look up. It's all about layering really. So I'm going to go back in to 10% with the same brush, and I'm just going to pop this into my crease just to deepen this ever so slightly. So I've got a little bit of that reddy brown peeking through when we go in with the darker colors. So I'm just going to honestly pack, just keep packing, and then do a slight blend, but not too much that you get rid of the color. You just want to build the depth in the crease. Now I'm happy with that transition shade. I'm going to go back into the palette and I'm going to use a mix of the two darker browns together because I really want to create that kind of intense, almost black, really dark brown in the crease halo look now. So I'm going to mix these together and then I'm just going to pack them very much in the crease, and I'm also going to bring that in more of a halo shape, so like a semicircle shape, and just pack the colour on. Now using my same brush, I'm just going to use the edge of it to kind of blend that dark brown into the reddish brown. Now I think it's important to know that every time you blend you start to lose colour, so if you want it stronger you need to go back in with the darker colour and pack it on top. I really want my crease to be dark brown black, so I'm going to go back in with the darkest brown in the Morphe times James Charles palette, and I'm just going to pack that darker colour now just on the crease and stay away from the blend. So I decided that I wanted to actually bring this darker colour higher because I'm worried that it's going to get hidden when we cut. So I'm just going to have to pack this colour on and then buff out this edge now, just because we want to cut our eye a little bit different. I do think that something like this is going to be very trial and error on your eye shape. I wanted to obviously make my eyes look a little bit bigger and bring the darkness higher, but it just depends on how dramatic you want to go. Now I'm happy with the level of intensity. Let's go ahead. I'm going to cut the crease. I'm going to be using my Kevyn Sensual Skin Enhancer again, and I'm going to start by going in the middle, and this is the largest part of my crease, and we're just going to cut it. I mean, it's difficult for me to explain, so you're just going to have to watch me whilst I'm doing it, but I'm going very slowly and just taking my time and cutting where my crease is. You can also go a little bit above this if you want there to be a larger crease. And I'm going to create more of a halo eye. So we're not going to wing this out, we're just going to bring it back down in a really nice clean cut semicircle. Once you're happy with how your crease is cut, and I like how it's looking, but you can see that you need to go a lot higher with the darkness because my crease is cut quite high, which means that I've lost the element of darkness here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and salvage just that little bit there and add a little bit of darkness back in and recut and reshape just so I can get the depth to my eye. Now that took me a hot minute to try and salvage, get a little bit more darkness. What I would say is you need a lot more darker shadow than what you think you do, and you need to pack it on. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set that crease into place. We're going to use the white shade that James has got, and I'm just going to dab this all over the cut crease just to set it in place, but I also want the white to stand out in the middle. So just pack this all on until it's quite a solid white colour. Once that white is packed on nicely, it's a little bit patchy, but we are just going to be blending the inner and the outer corners, so I'm not too fussed about it. I'm going to be going in to both of them darker brown colours again that I used, and I'm going to be placing them, just packing them quite heavily on in the inner corner and the outer corner. Once the inner corner and outer corner is on, again it's going to look messy because we are just going to blend that out. Now we kind of want to blur this into the shade at 10%, so I'm going to go back into the shade at 10% and just use this to kind of create the blur effect in between from dark to the more reddy brown to the whites. Okay, so this blend has been super difficult. I mean, I'm sort of happy with it now, actually. It's not as nice, the transition between these, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move on to face and start doing skin, and then I can revisit eyes. I'm going to start off just by moisturising the face. I'm going to be using the Benefit Moisturize Triple Performance Facial Emulsion just to get my skin feeling really hydrated and plump. For foundation, I'm going to be using the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea. This is just the water foundation. I want to keep the foundation quite light, quite natural looking, more of a satin finish because this is more about the eyes. This is in the shade Tan Sand, and I'm going to pop this all over the face and neck area and just buff it out using a damp beauty blender. For concealer, I'm going to be using the Revolution Supersize Conceal and Define in the shade C12. Now, I want to be quite careful with this, so just careful around the eyeshadow and around the blending. I'm going to pop this underneath my eyes and a little bit around my mouth area as well. And then we are just going to blend that out using a damp beauty blender just to create a really nice blank canvas. Now to highlight the face, I'm going to be using the Revolution Conceal and Define in the shade C7, so it's quite a few shades lighter just to brighten. And I really want to emphasize this underneath my eyes and just down on my T-zone. I'm going to take this product down and then very carefully again, just using my damp beauty blender, I'm just going to blend this and buff it out. Now taking more of that first shade, that reddy brown shade called 10% Off, I'm just going to smoke out my lower lash line quite heavily with this shade. I'm also going to take some more of that darkest brown in the palette and run this really close to my lower lash line. Now using a little bit of Kryolan's cake liner in the shade Ebony, I'm just going to line my waterline with this just to really intensify that lower lash line, and I might just tightline a little bit as well. Now I'm kind of just making this up as I go along, but I feel like I just want to stamp the tiniest amount of a line for a little bit of definition on the top lash line. Moving back to the face, I'm just going to warm up the face using the Studio Waterweight MAC powder in the shade Dark. I am just going to warm the face up to give it a little bit of dimension and just pop it on my cheekbones, take it up to my temple areas, and I'm just going to do the little bits, the sides of my nose a little bit, because what that's going to do is it's just going to tie the whole look in together. Now I do need a tiny bit of colour, so I'm going to go into Obsession's Pinky Promise blush palette. I'm going to mix Secret and Whisper together, and I'm just going to give myself a really nice flush to the cheeks, working on the apples and then just brushing upwards towards the temple area. Using my airspun loose translucent powder, I'm just going to set my under eyes just to kind of finish them off, and they're sealed in place. I've literally been doing this eye makeup for so long that this light right here just keeps flashing on and off because the battery needs charging, and that doesn't ever usually happen. But Instagram makeup is hard. I'm now just going to pop on a little bit of mascara onto my lashes because we are going to be popping on some false lashes, so we just need to coat both the top and the bottom. For lashes, I'm going to use the Tatti lashes in the style TL3, and I'm just going to quickly chuck on these bad boys, and then I'll come back with the finished eye. Now I specifically want my skin to look wet, and what other skin frost is better than using King Tut by Jeffree Star. I die for this highlighter, I love it. I've dug my nail into it, which is really depressing, but I'm going to take my Morphe, this is my M510 brush, which I love for highlighter, and I'm just going to pop this on the highest points of my cheekbones and down the centre of my face as well, just to get a really nice glossy skin look. For lips, I kind of want to stick to everything being matte because I'm liking that feel right now. I'm going to use Primark's lip liner in the shade Red Velvet, and I'm just going to line my lips with this lip liner. Now that the darker lip liner is on, I'm going to be using BH Cosmetics liquid lipstick in the shade Sorbet. I'm going to pop this into the center, and then I'm just going to use a blending brush just to blend this out so we get more of an ombre look. To finish, I'm just going to spritz a little bit of my MAC Fix Plus in the Rose scent. And that, guys, is the finished makeup look. I hope you guys really enjoy this video. It is an Instagram inspired, Mitchell inspired makeup look. And do you know what? It took some skill and some patience and some time, but I got there in the end. I really actually like the finished look. I think it is a little bit too strong for like daily wear, but it's taught me a lot about different ways that I could blend, and that's why I like trying out different things. Let me know what you thought of it down below, and if you want to see more videos like this, let me know also if you want to see this but in a colourful look, because I was thinking a colourful one would be insane, like a pink or a purple or a blue or a green. Let me know that down below. I love you guys so very much. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you in my next video. Mwah.